Hi everyone! Today I'm going to talk about all the weird things that I've found while living here for almost 6 years. I'm from Norway and things are a lot different there than here, so today I'm going to talk about a few of the things that I've found really weird. This video is long overdue. I'm surprised I haven't made one yet, but it's happening now. The first thing is one of the most annoying things, and it is that plugs have to be switched on. So when you plug in something, you have to switch on the socket to get electricity. You can't just plug in your laptop and then expect it to charge. There's a switch that you need to flip to turn it on, which is so strange to me. I think we've all made this mistake, but it's so annoying when you need to leave the house in an hour, so you plug in your phone to charge it, but you forget to switch it on, and then when you go to leave, then your phone is still dead. That's so annoying. It's like, oh. Another weird thing is that there is usually no service inside stores. I don't know if that has something to do with the brick buildings here and everything, all the walls are so thick and all this, so you don't get service. But whenever you go inside a store, at least if you go to the lower floors, if you go to the upper floors, then you'll have no service, and it's so strange. But even if you're in a store where everything is on one level, if you go really far into the store, then you just have no service. I feel like in 2020 we shouldn't be having these problems. When we're on the topic of floors, it's really strange how the floor that you enter, it's the ground floor or floor 0. It doesn't have a number, it's just floor 0. So when you go up one, it's floor 1. Everywhere else, if you go inside somewhere, then you're on the first floor, But here, the first floor is if you go up the stairs. It's also really weird how there are no sockets in the bathrooms. So if you want to blow dry your hair or straighten your hair or shave, I guess, or anything, then you need to do it, I don't know, in your bedroom or in the living room or whatever you have a socket in front of a mirror. I just find it so weird that I have to charge my toothbrush in my living room rather than charging it, in the bathroom where it belongs anyway. When we're on the topic of bathrooms, why is there still a cold tap and a hot tap? If you haven't been here and you haven't seen it, they're separate, so you actually cannot use them at the same time. You can obviously they can be on at the same time, but both of the taps won't hit your hand, so you can either be freezing cold or boiling hot, because the water is actually boiling hot. You can wash your hands in it for 10 seconds, and then it gets so hot that you can't touch it anymore. Another weird things about bathrooms, and this might be a little icky or a little TMI or whatever, but the pressure in toilets, the water pressure, is really bad. So a lot of the time, it won't flush everything. So a lot of the time, if you go into a public toilet or something, or even, I don't know, your roommates might do this, they'll just throw in a lot of toilet paper to cover whatever didn't flush, instead of waiting for it to flush again, because you need to wait for the water to load up, or I don't know, you can't just flush twice in one go, of course. So people will just throw in a lot of toilet paper to cover everything. It's so weird, I've never seen this anywhere else. Another thing, people strongly dislike putting the heating on and spending money on heating. The houses here are terribly poorly insulated, and there are gaps, and the houses are not great for keeping heat or just keeping you warm at all. So you need to put the heat on, or I see a lot of people, you see this in a lot of shows as well, people just sit with their coats on inside, and it's just normal, they're sitting in the couch and they have their outdoor jacket on. I mentioned this in my Q&A video, but this is such a weird thing that people say, and it's, "You're right." Instead of asking how are you or whatever, this is one of the greetings that people will use, and it's, "You're right." For me, it's so strange that you would just say that, because it makes me feel like something is wrong. It makes me instantly think that something is wrong, and especially if you're a person who kind of overthinks things a little bit, then it's very what do you mean, am I right? Does it look like I'm not right? I don't have a car here, and I won't get a car because driving here is just a nightmare. The roads are super narrow. Well, first of all, you all drive on the left, which is super weird, but the roads are super narrow, and people also park on the roads, which makes them even smaller, of course. So there's just no room. I don't understand how people drive here, and buses will boost through a road, and there's cars parked on each side, and I just don't understand how people do it. I would be so scared to hit something. Another thing, what is the deal with Henry the Hoover? If you don't know what Henry the Hoover is, it's a super ugly vacuum or Hoover. It has a face on it, and obviously its name is Henry, and it's kind of creepy. Why? What's the deal with this? Another weird thing, the houses are super small. Everything is so tiny here. Everything is just so small, and people will be like, "Oh, this is a spacious living room," and then there's room for one couch. I don't understand. Of course, I've only lived in London. All of these experiences, everything is just based on me living in London, and I don't understand how people have their families and have kids inside, indoors. It's so small. I've made a video about this before, and it's the weird place names in England, and specifically the way they're spelled. How Leicester and Gloucester and Greenwich are spelled Leicester, Gloucester, Greenwich. How you just can't know how to pronounce them. You're gonna pronounce them wrong if you haven't heard anyone say them. And also how the names are kind of vulgar and just very weird, like Puckle Church, Lickfold, Bishops, Itchington? Like, who made these names and thought these are appropriate? And Norway gets famous for having a place that's called Hell. I mean, why don't we talk more about these? A weird thing is that people have chips with everything. I mentioned this in my Q&A as well, but people will have chips with Chinese food and with spaghetti and with, like, people will just always have chips on the side, and I don't understand, like, they will add chips when there's already a carb in the meal. Another weird thing is that people eat crisps for lunch. Like, they just eat them for lunch. Like, they will get a meal deal and have a sandwich and a drink and then crisps. It's such a weird thing how you would eat that. Like, that's a snack, like that's a treat. It's so weird how you eat that as part of your meal. And it's also like the crisp flavors are just so out of control. Crisps with all these kind of dinner flavors and like bacon, everything, and there are so many gross crisps flavors. Like, I can't even find the ones I want because there's just so many crazy flavors. And last but not least, I don't know how this ended up last because it's one of the grossest things, carpets indoors. Carpets everywhere. Like, I mean carpets, like wall-to-wall carpets, like carpets that cover everything. And you know that these carpets are not changed every time someone new moves in. Like, this carpet is gross. Someone has had sex on this carpet and you know it. I don't understand how people actually like having carpets. Filthy. Ugh. Alright, that was all for today. Maybe I'll do another one of these when I think of more weird things, because there are more weird things. You all are weird. Just kidding, I obviously love living here. It's been 6 years. So yeah, I post videos every Friday, so if you want to see more of my content, please hit the subscribe button, and thank you for watching. Keep the good vibes. Bye!